And a lot to unpack in this story. So let's welcome now former FBI Special Agent Stuart Kaplan. Stuart, thank you so much for being here. Let's dive right in. Police say this is an ongoing investigation. What are they doing right now to either validate or invalidate her story?
Well, I think certainly if you look at the physical evidence, and I would start obviously with the video evidence of the camera that picked up the car along the interstate. Certainly the camera or the video does not in any way show a toddler near or in any proximity to where she ultimately stopped. In fact, if you watch the video, she actually goes down the highway for a good distance before she finally comes to a stop.
Just a heads up, I will be doing a live stream today at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both my channel, my main channel and my second channel. So if you do not catch me over on the main channel, 9 times out of 10, you will see the live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time floating around on my second channel. So please make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on with the option all. So it turns out from me doing my due diligence from today and early this morning that Carlee Russell is really holding back some things. And one thing I hate to say out of my mouth, but I think that everything that she said happened to her was a lie.
The first thing as an investigator, I think anybody could appreciate that if you saw a toddler in the middle of the night out there on an interstate, you would stop your car instantly and get out frantically and try to protect that child. The behavior of seeing the car continue down the highway, number one, is inconsistent with the belief that, in fact, there was a child along the road. Also, I think you would understand and appreciate and anticipate that other motorists would have made the same observations and would have called 911 or would have stopped their vehicles, obviously to render aid to this child in obviously grave danger. So those are the obvious direct evidence that I would have a problem with. I see this case, unfortunately, more as she may have been involved with someone else, and maybe in order to have an alibi for where she was, I think we may see this case unravel in the days to come.
And right now I feel bad for her mother and her father, family members and friends, because they were very supportive to Carlee Russell's, and then to find out that there was more that was to the story, that she was living obviously a double life or something. There was something that obviously she was covering up for her to let it get out of control like it did. However, what really broke the camel's back for me, not just what I was hearing from social media or even the news, because sometimes they don't even get it right. Things can happen around your neighborhood and you could be right there when the incident happened, and then it gets reported on the news and it's not accurate at all. But I was listening to a former FBI agent that was on News Nation, and basically when I heard him say, you know, in my opinion, from what he was saying, it's not believable, the story that she's telling of what happened the day that she was allegedly kidnapped. And he went into details, which I will further let you listen to what he had to say, but none of what Carlee Russell's is saying is adding up. And I did say in another video that you probably already saw, you know, when people do this, there's possibilities to being incarcerated. I don't know what sort of penalty or punishment they would put on Carlee Russell's if they find her to be guilty.
So, Stuart, how do investigators go about tracking her account, putting some of these pieces together?
Well, the first thing is the cell phone was left on the side of the road. And so, of course, it is my understanding that the phone will not offer any information with respect to after she apparently allegedly was abducted. However, the phone will be of importance to backtrack and see who she was talking to, who she was texting, and most importantly, in fact, we saw the advancement of this technology, the location service services that are indicative now in all cell phones, where it can pinpoint with direct accuracy as to where she was at any particular time. They'll be able to go back and see where or whether or not, in fact, there's some validity to where she was coming from. I think they're going to look at that cell phone information, and then, of course, they're going to attempt to interview her and see whether or not the story that was alleged does it in fact pair up.
Of making up this whole storyline, because there were a lot of donors that put money up to find her. There was a lot of time spent in an area where they could have been looking for really kidnapped people that need their help, and is time sensitive, and she could have took away a few people's lives because they were searching for one person who wasn't needed to be found. She was somewhere allegedly up into the Red Roof Hotel or motel, Holiday Inn. No, I'm being funny. For 2 days, allegedly. And she knew exactly what was going on, and she knows that nobody kidnapped her, no harms was done to her, and she just went along with what the media was saying, and she played on it.
With the physical evidence. But again, that's to be seen. And again, the other obvious thing when we talk about direct evidence is that if someone was abducted, as soon as you would break free from your captive, you would not walk home. You would immediately go to the first person or the first house or the first someone, and obviously get someone to call 911 and render assistance to you. This idea that you walked home is inconceivable. It's not believable, and it's not consistent with logic. And so that in and of itself is going to be a problem for her.
A lot of gaps in the story, a lot law enforcement didn't say. We'll await those details. Stuart Kaplan, thank you for the breakdown.
Media, social media, and the news assumed from how everything was left on the scene that she was kidnapped. Somebody had grabbed her because she was inquiring about a toddler that was on the side of the road, which we now know did not exist, and we felt as though it was considered a kidnapping. And I think that she didn't stop that she was kidnapped, but she ran with the narrative and she made it appear that she was kidnapped. She didn't come back 24 hours later. She came back 48 hours later. Story doesn't add up. They have camera footage of her just leisurely walking back to the home after the so-called kidnapping 48 hours later. Once she got up to her family's door, her whole body language changed, like a dramatic damsel in distress that just ran away from her kidnappers, her attackers, or whoever you want to call these people at the time that she just conjured up in her head, or went with the social media crowd who was saying that she was kidnapped. And she played on this, and she could be actually in some serious trouble. And it's really sad because there's so many people of color who are missing, and we already complain enough saying, why aren't these people, why aren't these races considered or thought about as much as other races, and why don't they invest that much time and investigation in finding these people as much as these other people? And now she's made the Black community, and this is not a race commentary video or race war that's going to start because of what she did, but it's going to make it really hard or believable. Even though one bad apple does spoil it for the bunch, that does not mean that everyone of color is going to come up missing and it's going to be a hoax or a lie or something for attention, or media attention, or for a bag. However, she's going to make it really hard for those people that are missing, and for people to really want to find these people. They're not going to take, the situation is serious because of people abusing the system. She abused the system. I know that if they do, in fact, investigators find out that she perhaps did send them on a frenzy, and the frenzy wasn't a good frenzy, it was all a made up story, and people donated money and all sorts of things, and it was a lie, I honestly think that they're going to prosecute her. I don't know if she'll get some sort of probation or some time, but I think that they're going to make an example out of her to let people know going further, because you'll get people that are going to try to do it better than what she did. That if you attempt to do this, and this is a serious matter, when someone gets kidnapped, 9 times out of 10 is that it's an alert that this person could perhaps be not only in danger, but could be found unalive. And the lady who came to their aid, who didn't get to see her daughter ever again, her daughter didn't come back to her, came to help find Carlee Russell's. And I know it's like she was basically playing in this lady's face and was messing with her emotions, because her daughter wasn't as lucky as Carlee Russell's was. And the sad part about it was Carlee Russell's is still lucky, because no one's believing the story at this point that she got kidnapped, and that people were feeding her Cheez-Its for 48 hours and painting her nails, as she allegedly is telling the story to different people, and things are getting leaked. Nothing was wrong with her at all. It was something that was going on in her personal life, and she just was being dramatic with it and took it too far, and this is where we're at today. But hopefully soon it'll all come out in a nutshell of the current events from the time she went missing to the present time, and what was the real motive.